Hello and welcome to Live Well with Barrie. If you've been following this series, you know it's about inspirational people in and out of the community. As I say, we don't have to look too far for our heroes. Our heroes are right here among us. And I am graced with the presence today of, I call her the Queen, as you can see. I've got the cravat, the Queen. I'm just genuflecting in front of the Queen. Carroll Thompson. Lovely to see you. Lovely to have this intimate moment with you because I know she's a busy girl. We've had to really pin her down. So we're lucky to have you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm well.
And we're in situ in your little space,
My
as you
little
can
cave,
see.
yes.
Her little back cave at the back of the house, which is fantastic. She can just escape and come and create as she does. Well, I mean, you're known as the Queen of
Wow.
Lovers Rock.
One,
I mean,
one of the queens.
But
One of the
no,
queens.
the
One.
Queen. The Queen of Lovers Rock. You came out and just blew everything away. But you're so much more than that, than just the Queen of Lovers Rock, because your repertoire is vast,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Within the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But you
love
know,
it.
it's not just the one genre.
No.
It covers many.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Because
true.
I heard some jazzy stuff and I was thinking, wait, Carroll Thompson? Bye, Carroll Thompson. I'm so sorry, Carroll Thompson. Yeah, you know. So where did it all start for you? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up just outside London
Right.
in a little town called Hitchin, Letchworth, which is
Oh, right.
Little
I know
Luton.
very well.
Yeah,
I know
so I
Hitchin,
grew up
Letchworth,
there.
yeah.
It was lovely. Grew up mostly with my grandparents,
Right.
who were we were in the church.
Right.
By the time I came along.
Hence
anyway.
the voice, okay.
So yeah, I grew up with my grandparents mostly, and yeah, it was a good childhood and lots of music and lots
Garden City, isn't it?
Garden
Isn't-
City, a lot
yeah.
of discipline.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
quiet,
It was
quiet.
quiet,
Yeah.
but there was a strong Caribbean community down
Yeah.
there. And plus being part of the a Pentecostal church, I had a wide Caribbean community as well outside of where I lived. So
Right.
it was good. I enjoyed my childhood. It was lovely.
So big family, brothers and sisters?
Not a big family.
Right.
I have one sister.
All right.
But then I have lots of cousins. And
Yeah, okay.
So it was big enough.
But your household was one sister, one sibling, I should say.
One sibling, yeah. So,
Right.
So yeah, it was lovely. It was good.
And how was school life for you?
It was okay. I enjoyed school. I was a good student, and
None of us doubt that for a minute, do we? I mean, look at, even now she looks quite studious with her glasses.
I enjoyed studying. I enjoyed school. Yeah, and I did very well at school, and it was something I enjoyed. Not
Right.
everybody has a great experience with school. Different for different reasons. But for me personally, it was good. I enjoyed school.
And that's actually nice to hear because a lot of people, they're like, you talk about school
I know,
and
they
they
switch
switch
off.
off, they
Eyes
recoil.
glaze
And
over.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
it. And
know,
there's
I
a
know.
thing of terror. And I'm thinking, well, am I the only one that actually enjoys
you
school?
enjoy
Because
school
I
too?
had a great
Ah,
schooling,
yeah.
I really enjoyed the
I
time at
enjoyed
school.
it. I enjoyed the academic part, and also I was very sporty
Yeah.
and musical. And I was fortunate I had a school that did lots of musical productions and had a thriving sort of sport department. And I loved netball, and I really got into netball in a big way. And it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's what makes the difference with your school experience is where it is,
True.
how the teachers are, how
That's
they
true.
inspire you, and how
Yeah.
much they put into you and encourage you to be
It's true.
your best rather than putting you down,
Yeah.
which is what a lot of people's story
people
is.
had that
Yeah.
really negative experience. Very bright people, bad experience, bad teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers who just didn't care, didn't want to be there, just there for the holidays, and weren't interested in the children. Shouldn't
yeah.
have been teachers.
Yeah.
But it was convenient for them to teach, and they were really it was a very negative experience for a lot of people because of those types of individuals who shouldn't have been in the
Should
classroom.
never have been there. That's it. So did music start for you at school?
Music started for me at church.
At church, right. Okay.
Yeah. So
And
that
then you
was
followed
more-
it on through school because you did mention
Yeah.
being sporty as well as other musical things going on in
Yeah,
your schooling.
Church and music synonymous.
Right.
I really enjoyed the songs and the praise and the singing and the tambourine clapping and the noise. Loved it, So I grew up in that environment of expressing yourself through your music.
Through your music.
And, yeah, so that was very natural and very inspiring for me. And my grandmother used to sing, and she was a choir mistress, so we were always singing in the house, always learning new songs, harmonies and stuff like that with her. So that was wonderful. She was not only a minister, but she was also a choir mistress.
Right. So the music came home with you as well.
Came home, was in the car. We were always singing, you know, sorting, as I said, sorting out harmonies and learning new songs from the hymnals and stuff like that. So it was good.
Because a lot of our stories are that the music was in the home as well.
Yeah.
You know, either the parents were music lovers and record collectors or
That's
played instruments, and then it kind of filters down to you.
That.
Yeah.
So my mother loved music. She used to love to dance and stuff like that. And my grandfather, before he kind of got really into the church, he used to run like a little blues. Right? So my grandmother was praying and my grandfather was
in the shebeen.
So
variety is important.
So he loved music.
Right.
So he had a great jazz collection and a great ska and blue beat collection. So, you know, ever so often I'd get an opportunity to play something on his gram, you know, his little blues slot. And so, you know, there was always music, and we always used to have always had a lot of lodgers as well. They used to come over from Jamaica and they used to study. And so they'd be living in the house, and they were much younger, so they'd bring in a lot of the pre-releases that were coming from Jamaica, and I'd hear those as well. So there was a wide range of music, apart from what we had as our own backdrop in terms of the pop music that was going on the radio and stuff like that. So I had the pop music, and I always had the jazz and the reggae and the blue beat, and then I had the gospel. So it was a really good mix of music.
Well, that's sort of the thing is, you know, the soundtrack, I call it the soundtrack to our lives, was quite eclectic because, you know, you had what you were getting at home, the pre-releases, as you say, on the blue beat and the ska playing on the blue spot.
The reggae and everything,
but then you had Radio 1, and no one can tell me they weren't listening to Tony Blackburn and David Hammond, because that's all you had.
We didn't have a selection.
You know?
No. Yeah.
And then later on came hanging out the window with a hanger trying to get Invicta Radio. You know what I mean? But before that, it was Radio 1, it was Radio Caroline, Radio Luxembourg, which were kind of mainstream. And, you know, so our real musical backdrop, our musical soundtrack is eclectic. And it reflects in our appreciation from jazz, you know, from...
To pop, to soul,
to soul, to everything.
To Motown.
That's it. Yeah. So what was your first job?
Oh, my first job when I was still at school was in a supermarket, checkout, doing that. That's what I used to do in the holidays.
Okay.
You know, that was my first holiday job. Mac Market, I think it was, or something like that. And then when I studied, after studying, I did a bit of accountancy. So my first job was proper job was in Knightsbridge, in Hans Crescent, at the back of Harrods, for a fine wine distributors, and they used to do the Beaujolais run to France and come back, and I used to get involved in all of that and go to Claridge's and do fine wine tastings and all that. So that was
when I say she's the queen, I mean
it was
she is
really
the queen.
interesting. It was an interesting job, but at the same time I was trying to do the Lovers Rock reggae thing, and I just couldn't do the two things, because, you know, reggae studio run-ins would take you to like 6 o'clock in the morning,
and you're literally going straight from there with your change of clothes.
It wasn't working. So, but that was my first sort of proper job.
What was your first, shall we say, encounter with knowing that music was going to be what it had to be for you? I
think my moment of epiphany then, saying, well,
the eureka moment.
Yeah, it was like, you know, I feel so comfortable here. This is what I could, if I could, this is what I would do. I think one day it was a school production, and I think Pirates of Penzance, or one of those really dry classic UK.
That's better, classic. That's a dry
European musicals, and I remember getting up there and singing and seeing the audience and thinking, I really love this. I really enjoy it. It was fun, just, you know, the makeup and the dressing up and
the whole drama of it,
and, you know, having to perform on the moment, getting it right in the moment. And I thought I just felt really free and alive, and I thought, this is what I'd really love to do.
Right. That's
probably was about 15 at the time.
So, really?
Yeah.
So that's where it started at school. What was your first encounter with the Lovers Rock and going into the studio and doing it on a professional level?
Well,
How did
yeah.
that happen?
How, gosh, that was when I was working in Knightsbridge.
Right.
It was one of those buildings in the back of Hans Crescent where every floor was something else. So the floor I was on was a fine wine distributor. The next floor was like a exclusive ski and holiday thing.
Right.
The next floor was something else. And on the floor underneath me, there was a young lady she was a receptionist, and we used to just go out and get our sandwiches together. She says, "Oh, my uncle is a producer. He's a reggae producer." And I said, "Oh, really?" Said,
Ding, ding,
yeah.
ding,
Said,
ding.
he really wants to get involved in UK voices, you know, and he's coming from Jamaica here because he really loves the Lovers Rock thing. He doesn't want to do the roots thing. He really wants to do, you know, female voices with production and arrangements, and he feels being in the UK is the place to do it. So I sang on to like a little cassette. You remember back in the day they had these tape record, they had the answer machines.
Too young.
Too
Have
young.
no idea what she's talking about.
Because I know you're still at the nursery. All right, so I sang into like her tape recorder in the answer machine, and she took it and gave it to her uncle. So I listened to her voice on this, you know, cassette. And he really loved it, and then we got together.
Right.
Yeah, and then we started off with a cover tune, a song, and then we did an original, which was "I'm So Sorry." That was how we got into. I got into the studio, and that's how I started.
I mean, I'm So Sorry just broke the mold of everything, didn't it?
Amazing. I just couldn't believe how everybody just related to it.
Because it sounded different. It had an original sound. You know, because you were hearing the Lovers Rock voices before, but that was on a different level. It really took it to another level.
Yeah, I mean, I was just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just was just shocked at how everyone embraced it and really kind of really reacted in such a positive way. Yeah,
I mean, it was in every party. I'm So Sorry was
amazing.
just and then, you know, it just went from strength to strength. My all-time favorite is Yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Ultimate tune. With you sitting on the front of the car, you know.
Yes, what a ghetto fabulous.
Yeah. But you did do it fabulously. With your little fur. Is that where it was?
Yeah.
And that album's got several tunes on it that were singles.
Yeah, that album it still sells today.
Yeah.
That album has sold over 250,000. It still sells. It's amazing. You know, and people still want to hear it, still want to sing to it, still reminisce to it. It's just such a blessing.
So, well, I'll just let you know now. This Sunday, I'm going to do a tribute to Carroll Thompson on my radio show, which is on the Beat London.
Yes,
on Sunday. So it will be about
spinning.
an hour dedicated to the Queen of Lovers Rock, because I mean, there's so much that you've done over the time that, again, you know, I think it needs to be acknowledged for sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, what are your projects now?
Well, now I'm making a new Lovers Rock album, and it's an album that I feel that it's a very free album. Right. So it's reggae Lovers Rock, but it's gonna have lots of soul and bits of jazz
different influences
infused into it. All the things that I love.
Right.
I've just decided just to, if people don't feel it's traditional, it's not traditional. It's just an album of music that I enjoy. And I've brought in musicians that I really like, and writing with people that I've really admired, and just to make an album that's just truthful.
Yeah.
And you know, hoping that people will get into it and like it, and that's the project of the moment.
And I mean, as you say, some people might think it's not traditional, but everything evolves. Nothing stays the same, and it's always about reinventing and keeping things current and relevant to now. So, you know, possibly even though a certain generation appreciate what you would call the original sound, to make it palatable to a younger generation, because it's about incorporating everybody. Maybe you have to just adjust things slightly.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to adjust, and sometimes it's good to take influences from things that you really like. You know, I love soul, I love R&B, and also love jazz. You know, and I love arrangements. You know, and I like real instruments as well. So I'm going back to that because we've had a long period of sort of technology, of program sounds, and which is all great and everything. But I think it's quite nice to kind of go back to having a guitarist in here playing, having a saxophonist in here playing, and having a real bass man on it, and having, you know, it's just,
I'd love to be in here to see all those people
yeah,
fit in this
it's
space. That's great.
one at a time, one at a time. But it's just
Form
been
an
really
orderly
nice.
queue.
Yeah, it's been nice to kind of have that real sort of energy of a player coming in. 'Cause
Well,
I
that's
love-
it, you know, and
yeah.
our generation, our musical background is furnished with orchestras and
Yeah.
arrangements and bands, full bands. So, you know, it's only natural that
Yes.
you would want to.
I love
replicate
that because
that.
I love playing live, right?
Yeah.
As you know, I do a lot of live work, and I love being on stage with my musicians, and everybody's, you know, a specialist in their own area, and they're
Yeah.
playing, and we're making something beautiful together on stage. And sometimes when you're in the studio and you're using a lot of program sounds and stuff, it can be a bit sterile, and you can end up just by one little Indian by yourself in there doing it all yourself, because you can get all the sounds.
But
Program
not
off
quite.
the Not quite.
I always
But
say that. You
not
can get all the sounds, but not quite.
Not quite. So, but you can just sit here and make a whole album by yourself,
Yeah.
just you and the computer,
Yeah.
and which is fun to do. But I love the energy, you know, and the spirit that people carry, and
Well,
on a
that
track.
does
Yeah.
transfer to the music and what's being
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah.
That energy, that vibe of being in there with a group of people doing it live,
Live, it's-
is
you
completely
can't beat
different from
it.
you replicating a drum machine on a keyboard and replicating a horn section.
I mean,
and a-
there've been some million dollar hits made on a
Absolutely.
computer, you
Yeah.
know, and just put you know, just computer sounds and all programmed, and there is a speciality in that, and there is a skill in that too.
Yeah.
Which is, but that's not my skill.
No.
You know, so I just have to be honest and be truthful to what it is that inspires me as a musician, and what inspires me is collaborating, you know,
with other musicians
yeah, I
and
love it.
vocalists.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I love it. Vocalists as well. You know, I do a lot of background work with other singers for other
Right.
people on their records. I enjoy that too. So I enjoy the collaboration of music. Yeah,
Now, you did a concert recently, didn't you?
yeah, I've done a few.
Tell me about that.
I did one the other day, which was
Yes,
so
the one, the most
much
recent.
fun. It was the most fun. It was one of those situations where I had a lot of family that happened to all be over on the same weekend that I was doing the show in London.
Right.
So I had my aunt from America, my cousins from America, my mother was over, she's over from Jamaica at the moment, she was over, my other friend who happened to be over from Florida, one of my best friends, and another friend over from Jamaica. So they all came in, which is really great. Plus a lot of fans that I have never met before that had come to the very first show that they'd ever seen of me perform, which is really bizarre because I've been doing lots of shows. But depending on the venue, sometimes depends on whether you kind of get through to another network of people. So this show was just so much fun.
And where was this show?
It was in Holborn,
Right.
in central London, and it was so much fun. And I decided to do a little tribute to Phyllis Dillon, who is the queen of rocksteady, which I forgot to say I've done an album of her work,
Of her songs.
because I think
Alright.
it's important as well. So I did some of these old rocksteady tunes with my sort of classic album, a lot of songs from my classic album, and it was so much fun. My mum even came up and danced.
Because it will revoke memories for her as well.
I even got her up on stage to
Phyllis Dillon was,
yeah, their music.
She did a lot with Duke Reid on Treasure Isle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And the stuff is fantastic. And
Yeah.
and also she's got a lot of songs that people know but don't realise that
It's her,
she's,
that's right, yeah.
Yeah. So I've decided to do that, and it's called Carroll Thompson Sings Phyllis Dillon, you know, Queen of Lovers Rock sings the Queen of Rocksteady. So that'll be coming out for Christmas actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you got that? Queen of Lovers Rock sings
The
Queen of Rocksteady, Phyllis Dillon, coming out by Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was a lot of fun to do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, those old tunes, you know, they're classic.
And what were the other shows that you've done recently?
I've
Because you were
done-
saying because you've done quite a few.
I do a few shows around London and outside London as
Yeah.
well. So you know, I had I've got another little acoustic show coming up in Croydon. I think that's on the 13th of October. I've got another semi-acoustic show up in Birmingham for the for, I think they're called the Bass Festival,
All right.
which is celebrating 50 years of reggae music, with Toots and the Maytals and all kinds
Wow.
of people, and Steel
Real
Pulse.
legends.
Yeah, and myself and a few others. So, you know, these are the different types of shows that I do. And plus I do the show with Janet Kay, which is we do the Queens of Lovers Rock. We do that together, double header.
Okay.
We do a Christmas show every year. And
Yes, I've seen that.
yeah, and also we do the monologues, which chronicles it's called the Lovers
Now,
Rock.
this is
Monicles.
interesting.
Yeah, it's called
I've heard about
You
this.
must come to. We've got a show soon.
Tell me
actually.
more about
The
that.
Lovers Rock Monologues is a theatrical piece that Victor and Janet and myself devised. And basically we take some of our songs and we add monologues to each song, which sort of kind of charts our coming of age when we started to go out to raves and discovering our sexuality, discovering, you know, things about ourselves and music, and also talking about our parents a little bit as well. And
Right.
it's just such a lovely piece, and every time we do it we get the same reaction. People, they laugh, they cry. It's funny. It's really funny as
And
well.
yeah, but, you know, it will resonate with that certain age group, that certain crowd, that, you know, you're saying these things, you're singing these songs, and it takes them back to a moment instantly
Yeah, it
that
does.
they remember. They
Yeah.
a part of what they were wearing, who they went with, if their mother
Yeah,
came in with their
the
slipper to
slippers.
beat them at 2 o'clock in the
you know,
morning.
and also we talk about the soul heads and the reggae and the reggae people and what we all used to wear, because you were very much defined by your clothing.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day?
Absolutely.
You know, if you wore your pencil skirts, or whether you're in your winkle picker shoes or whatever, or your Oxford bags or whatever it is you were wearing, you know, kind of defined, you know, which particular musical genre.
And you know, that's what always set myself and one of my friends apart.
Yes.
Because we would be considered by a lot as soul heads.
Yes. Yeah.
So we would be at, you know, Royalty in
Tea,
Southgate, and
yeah. Yeah.
but we would then go home,
and change.
put on our Crocs, silk suit, and be in Shaka's Blues. You know what I mean? And that's when you say our taste is eclectic.
Yes, yeah.
Don't tell me
yeah.
that because I was in Southgate at
Yeah.
Royalty listening to Froggy,
Yeah.
that I can't go and listen to
The
Saxon.
Saxon.
Yeah, or
Thank you.
Shaka, because
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, you're down
There's
to
no
Phoebes.
box that I can. There's
Fit
no
into.
box that fits me.
That's how I felt as
Yeah.
well. You know, I loved my soul music and I loved my reggae music.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I loved Shaka. I loved Phoebes. I loved going to All Nations, and I loved Royalty too. So, you know, it's like there's many of us that
Yeah.
were
Crossover. Yeah.
And the reggae. What I found with Lovers Rock is it kind of married the two.
Because it was a little softer, it was a little
Yes,
gentler,
and it
you
it
know.
was romantic, and it had the arrangement.
Yeah.
And that was very much, you know, where we were. A lot of us were
Yeah.
kind of, we grew up with the soul and the Philly sound, and we grew up with the reggae too. So
Yeah.
it kind of worked. It was perfect for where we were situated in this country at that particular time.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
interesting, isn't it?
It is. You know, and as you say, it takes me right back to
Yeah.
a moment and who I was with, what I was wearing, what was playing, and
Yeah.
so it will be a success with a certain group of people
Yeah,
that get
yeah,
it.
They get it. Yeah, it's true.
You
Yeah,
know.
and they did get it.
Yeah.
They really did. It really sold a lot.
So when are the next shows of that? The
Well,
monologues.
the monologues,
Yeah.
we're doing the monologues at the Barrie Grant Art Centre,
Is that Tottenham?
Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the 10th, I think it is, the 10th or the 11th of this month, for Black
Right.
History Month. So we'll be down there. Come along. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Come along.
I will. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
make the effort
yeah,
now.
please
I'm
come.
going to
You're
have
gonna
to
have
make
a
the
lot of
efforts
fun,
now.
yeah.
So what are your future endeavours?
Well, my future endeavours is to keep making the music.
Yeah.
I've started a music production company with my son and my godson,
Right.
and I'm just overseeing as a project, and
with your experience,
yeah,
of
and
course.
sometimes helping, just tweaking some of the songwriting for them. But this is for their generation to make their music. It's a company called New Blood
Right.
Productions.
Perfect name.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's interesting. It's nice to see the youth coming up and trying to do their thing, you know, and express themselves musically for their generation, because every generation has to have its own voice.
Yeah.
And so I'm just helping structurally to make sure that the company is running properly, and putting my hard-earned cash, a bit of it into it, not too much, but just a little bit by bit, and watching it grow. And they're now at video stage, and so that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your tunes that you would say you have a particular soft spot for? I mean, I know as a writer you'll love them all,
Yeah, they're
because
all my
you put
babies.
exactly, they're all your babies. But is there one that you can pinpoint that you say has a special place for you?
I suppose it'd have to be I'm So Sorry.
Really?
Because it was my
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
It was my very first.
Like your first child, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a
it's kind
special.
of, yeah, it's my first song. It's not for me the best song that I feel that I've written. You know,
Right.
there's other songs that I'm more attached to in terms of writing.
All right. Okay.
You know, other people might not feel the same that I feel about it, but I love it because of the way it's constructed.
Hopelessly
and,
in Love is beautifully
Hopelessly
written.
in Love is one of my favourite in terms of a song and the feeling. But I'm So Sorry, because it was the first, and it was the first song that I ever really heard on the radio of myself.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember hearing it from distance, thinking,
Hold on a minute.
is that me? I think it was on Tony Williams or Greg Edwards or one of those. I can't remember who it was, but I remember not expecting it to come out, not knowing that it would come out.
Even though you know you're singing the words, you go, is that really me?
Because nobody had told me that it's going to be released. No one had told me that it's going to be played, and so
That's how things work sometimes in those
I'm just
days.
there listening to reggae time. I guess it was reggae time. And
On a Sunday afternoon, Tony
and
Williams. Yeah.
admiring all the other songs that are coming out, and all of a sudden I heard, oh, this new song. I didn't even hear the intro because I think I might have been in the kitchen, but I remember thinking, that sounds familiar. And I think, oh, that's my... And then I ran in the kitchen and realised it was my song, and it was just such a wonderful moment. So
Yeah.
in terms of I'm So Sorry, I guess that would be the song that kind of defined my Lovers Rock
because
career.
as you say, it's the first, and it was the first time you were getting all of those feelings
it was
about
wonderful.
hearing your tune on the radio, the
Yeah.
reception. Not that you get cynical and jaded as time goes on, but
Yeah.
you know, the first
Yes,
time you feel that hit,
Yeah.
that high,
It was wonderful.
it's hard to replicate.
You can't replicate that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a moment in time, something that, you know, helped boost my confidence as a singer songwriter. Think, oh well, you know, they're playing it, and then finding out that a lot of people were getting it, and then it just took off, and it was so that song, I think, has a special significance to me as an artist. Yeah.
Wow. As I said, Yesterday and Hopelessly in Love
Yeah.
for me are just...
Thank you.
Well, we're very privileged and honoured to be, as you can see,
here
in
my
situ
desk.
where
Yeah.
it all still happens.
It all still happens. Yeah.
How much time do you spend in here?
I spend a lot of time in here. I spend time in here on my own stuff, on other artists, writing and producing in here. So it's a lot. I enjoy it. This is my little
Haven,
yeah,
isn't
my
it?
little lab.
Yeah.
This is my musical lab.
Love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Well, we're very honoured and privileged to be able to come into your space. So Carroll Thompson, being such a busy girl, see, I still call it girl because she
thank
looks about 12.
Ah, please.
What do you do to look after yourself and keep your equilibrium?
Good question, Barrie. You know, I'm a strong believer in prayer
Right.
and meditation. So I do meditate in the mornings, and I do pray, and I eat well.
Very important.
I really stay away from the crap. I stay away from sugar as much as possible, and I try to and I do exercise every day.
All right.
Whether it's
Hence
walking,
the hourglass waistline.
whether it's to walk,
Yeah.
or whether it's to kind and do, because I like to go to the gym. I like to do spinning. I'm a spinner.
Oh, you're a
So
spinner, are you?
Yeah, I do like spinning, and I do like to walk.
Right.
Yeah, and so those things, and I do try.
That keeps you fit and in shape and able to sustain the performances on stage, because you do
Yeah,
have to really
I
be
have
of a
to.
certain
You
kind
need a
of
lot of. You
fitness.
do have to have. You have to be, especially when I travel as well. Traveling and performing,
Yeah.
you have to be fit.
You're
you know.
exhausted from traveling, and then
You
you've
have
got
to
to
get up
go,
and you have to
hi,
hi,
and
you've
put
got
it,
to,
yeah, you've
so you
got to
have to be
have,
fit. You
yeah.
have to be fit, and to get through all the time zones and everything like that. So I do take that very seriously, and I do take the gift to be able to sing very, very seriously. I do see it as a gift, and
Well, it is, because not everyone can do
not
it.
everybody
So
has it, and it's like people who can ride or people who can paint and who can run or whatever it is your gift is. You really have to look after it and recognize the fact that it is a gift, and to know that my gift is housed in my body. I can't take out a violin out of a case and start playing it. My gift is in my body, so
you
I
have
have
to
to
look
look after my
that
body
yeah.
in order to me to kind of use my gift properly. And what I have found is the more I look after myself, is the stronger it has become over the years.
That's
It's
interesting.
interesting, and because I don't take drugs and I drink very sparingly, that's just my nature. That's who I am. I've been able to preserve it and look after it, and being in the business that I'm in and working with a lot of great musicians over the years, having that privilege to do that and seeing what drugs does to the body and the gift, and how you meet some people who have a tremendous gift, but because they develop a habit, they just end up not even being able
To
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 do the
to
thing
use the
to
gift.
use the gift and to do the thing that they love the most.
And even as you say, it's not even having the humility to appreciate the gift that they've got. They almost take it for granted.
Yeah. It's easy
Don't
to
know.
take it for granted, though. The thing is,
Yeah.
if you're born with something that you just open your mouth and you can sing,
Yeah.
and it's like with anything, it's like the gift of having a great body, right? Some people just have this beautiful body, and
Yeah.
and they're just born with this body, and so they're just living their life, and they just don't realize that if you don't look after that body, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
It's
If
and
you abuse it.
if you abuse it,
Yeah.
and this is it's like sometimes I look at dancers, and if they keep going, they get into the 60s and 70s, and
And
they
they still
still
look
look
magnificent. Yeah.
incredible, only because they've developed the right habits to look
And
after
them
that.
doing what they do
Yeah,
is keeping that in
keeping their
shape.
shape. Yeah, yeah,
The,
and all everything else that
yeah.
goes with it, the food and everything else. So, and the
So
discipline.
that's the physical for you, the
Yeah,
spinning, the
yeah,
gym, the
yeah.
walking. But as you say, for the mental equilibrium and the balance, because when you've got a lot of things that are coming at you like this,
Yeah,
and you've got to
yeah.
give equal time to it, the thing that keeps your equilibrium is the meditation.
So meditation and prayer.
Yeah.
I think that those things are very important on a daily basis. In the mornings, I give thanks that give thanks that I have another day to do something spectacular, something exceptional, to kind of undo some things that might have not been quite right the day before. I've given another chance. Each day you're given a chance to
Yeah.
kind of set the balance right again. So
Well, that's the positive outlook right
yeah,
there,
it's
because
important.
when they're saying tomorrow is another day,
Yeah, yeah.
you have to look into it and see what it means. Well, okay, everything didn't work out necessarily today, but we have an opportunity tomorrow to alter that, to change it, to,
Yeah. No,
you know.
you do. And if you look at it that way,
Yeah.
like, okay, I have another opportunity to find a solution for something,
Yeah.
or I have another opportunity to create something beautiful, or to put a seed of hope into somebody, whether it's your family or your friend. You have another day to kind of grow a great seed, and that's how I look at it. And and I have a new day to kind of shut the door on a few people. Right?
I hope she doesn't mean us.
But
No,
Barrie,
but that's absolutely true.
sometimes there's some people you just have to say, you know what, love you, but you're not for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Or I can love you from afar.
I have to love you from afar.
Just love you from afar, and it's great. Yeah.
You have to protect myself
Because
from you.
yeah,
because
what you bring in is
you're
not.
bringing can't work for me, and it's
Yeah.
not working for me, and I'm not ready for you, or you're not ready for me. But whatever it is, the vibration
It's
is
not
right.
connecting.
It's
Yeah.
not right.
But that takes a certain amount of maturity,
Yeah.
and self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Those things you can only get with time and age.
Time.
And,
Yeah, it's
you know,
true.
because a lot of people are afraid to actually say, well, you know what? Stop.
Yeah.
I can't have you too close because what you bring, how you make me feel is not positive. It's not,
Yes.
you know, in unison with growth
Yeah. True.
and encouraging that growth. So, you
Yes.
know, that in
Yeah.
itself is self-preservation, shall we say.
Self-preservation and having the courage and understanding of who you are,
Yeah.
and what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and having the courage to say no to a few people, and to certain things in your life, and say, well, no, that can't work because
Yeah.
you know it's not positive, it's slowing me down, and it's not actually, I'm not expanding with this situation. So
It's
every
not
day
conducive to
it's
progress,
it's not.
either of our progress. Because if I
No.
don't feel like I'm
No.
progressing, that energy comes on to you as well.
That's
So, you
it,
know,
you know.
it's
And
negativity
some
all
people, you
round.
just have to leave them until they find their own way, until
Time
they
in
evolve.
their journey, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's on a at different paths, at different times in their journey, and at different stages, and you know, you kind of have to recognize that. You know, so that's what I do. That whole the spiritual aspect of my life is very important as well. And you know, peace and calm. You know, you've walked through my house. I'm a very tranquil person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I like
I was like, does
tranquil.
somebody really live here? It's so quiet.
I like tranquility, and
Yeah.
you know, and I like a certain amount. I like order, but I like creativity, but I do like it within a particular order.
Order, yeah.
Yeah. So I run my home like that, and my family, and try and instill that into my children, and you know, hopefully, you know, as time goes by, they will see that as something really positive they can use in their lives whenever they need it.
Yeah.
So for me, the spiritual aspect is really important. The meditation and the prayer,
Yeah.
and the exercise and the food.
And well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with organized chaos.
No,
Because
no.
when you're a creative, there's
Yeah.
a certain amount of
I have to.
chaos
There
that's
is,
all over the, but
you know,
know,
a little bit of
sometimes it's a
madness
bit,
to the
yeah,
a little
it's
bit
a
of
bit
madness.
difficult to work in a mess.
Yeah. I
You
do,
know?
you know, I am quite quirky, right,
Yeah.
as well. I'm quite a quirky person, and I'm not.
Hence the lovely flowers. Can we get those on camera? The lovely flowers.
I'm
I
quite-
love those little.
I'm quite quirky, and I know that I don't actually sometimes fit into people's boxes, and I'm fortunate to have friends around that just allow me to
be
quite
you.
fluid, you know,
Yeah.
and they know they don't hear from me. It's fine, you know. It's not that I'm ignoring them or whatever, but I'm just
just
in a,
life is
yeah, I'm in
living
a
life,
mode,
yeah.
and then I go into a mode, and they, you know, I have really good friends and family like that allow Carol to be
To be Carol.
Yeah,
That's
to
what's
do
important.
My creative thing, you know. So
You know,
and those
all your
guys-
relationships in life are about people allowing them to be who they are.
I
When
think
you
so,
bump
it's
into
important.
problems is when you want people to do or fit
Yeah.
into or control. You know, that's when you bump into
Yeah,
problems.
yeah,
But once you
yeah.
allow people to be,
Yeah, I'm a free spirit,
Yeah.
Barrie. I'm very free spirited, and sometimes you see me, sometimes you don't.
yeah.
You know, sometimes you might see me in places you're thinking, really? Yeah, really. You know, so
That's
it's like,
right,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just very free,
Fluid,
and I'm very
yeah.
fluid, very open, and accepting of people. And, you know, I think that everyone has a right to be who they instinctively and intrinsically are, you know, and if it doesn't fit with X and Y, so what?
Yeah.
Just be yourself,
Yeah,
you know, be true
that's
to
right.
yourself, and be 100% authentically who
You.
you are, and the right people will
will come to
gravitate
you. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, I
It's when you're
agree.
trying to be this for that person, that for this person. Who are
And
you?
you're absolutely
who-
nobody for yourself. Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
very unhappy and self-destruct, you know. So I'm very conscious that people should be allowed to be themselves. So I have a very eclectic group of friends, and I love it that way. Who are just
Which not
themselves.
only gives you a full life, but a broad life,
Yeah,
a broader outlook,
Mm.
you know, an attitude.
Yeah.
You're less small-minded.
Yeah.
The more eclectic your group of people are,
Yeah, yeah.
the better your life and your world is.
It is. It makes
Absolutely.
it very interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's been lovely to talk to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Barrie, thank you.
Queen of Lovers Rock. So we're looking out for the monologues.
Monologues on the 11th of October. my acoustic set up in Croydon on the 13th of October.
Right.
A Christmas gig with Janet Kay and myself. It's called the Queens of Lovers Rock. That will be in the centre of town, so just look out for it.
Now, where can we go to get all this information of what Carroll Thompson's doing?
Well, you can go to my website, which
Okay.
is carrollthompson.co.uk, or I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram.
Okay.
And I'm active on my
social media, right.
So anything that I'm doing.
So we can get you on your website, which is
carrollthompson.co.uk.
right, and on Facebook.
Facebook, Carroll Thompson official page, or the fan page. Instagram is Carroll Thompson Music on Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter is Queen of Lovers on Twitter.
See, it comes up all the time. That's it. See.
Queen of Lovers on Twitter, and so any one of those things.
Yeah, because we want to know what you're doing. We want to come and support.
Yeah, thank
you.
and
encourage.
You'll find maybe a flyer or whatever will be on one of those pages.
Right.
Yeah.
Once again, darling, thank you very much.
you,
It's been an
Barrie.
absolute pleasure. I like to
And
be
you're looking
French.
fantastic.
I came to see the Queen.
If I know how to dress up a little bit more, but never mind.
We just
been
wanted you
underdressed,
natural
I've been
as you are. We just want you natural as you are. And we're very honored to be right in your space. So, just as you are, as you
Thank
say,
Barrie, thank
natural.
you.
Thank you very much for joining us. And if there's anything that resonates with you, please let us know on Facebook, on the website. Stay tuned for the next hot guest next week. Bye. Yeah.